first, man, I'm not taking shit. The more I talk to my lawyer, I'm like, how is they saying that, how they even know? He like, man, they got the discovery and they got shit called jinx material. Jinx material mean it's shit, they might have a witness that they not producing, but when you go to trial, they gonna producing, and you and your lawyer got an hour to get ready. When I get my discovery, and I read the shit from confidential source 4 in regards to our case, bro, this shit that I know you know. When I read the background on confidential source 4, mind you, earlier in our paperwork, it say, Diz Nation artist Stephen Davidson, and it talk about July 14th, 2008, him getting cracked in the airport with a substantial amount of MDMA. It have that exact date, July 14th, 2008. When I read confidential source 4, I know this is shit that you know. When it say, such and such was Doobie Man Connect over the last 10 years, and Doobie introduced me to him, and all this shit, I know this is shit that you know, bro. Then when I read the background, because how this paperwork go, if a motherfucker snitch or you got a confidential source on your case, they give you the background of it. This my nigga. I know about your DUIs. DUI.
Damn.
Fuck all that. When it get to line K, and it say that this confidential source on July 14th, 2008, was popped in the airport with a substantial MDMA, and they put it in the paperwork that Stephen Davidson was popped on that same day. Well, what you telling me? That you and this motherfucker got popped on the same day?
So right around 2008, the FBI starts to investigate Thiz Entertainment.
Exactly. At the time, Thiz didn't know that the investigation was going on, but the investigation started behind one of the guys that we used to deal with, PSD. PSD, the driver. Back then, we thought it was all good. But at the end of the day, he did some cat shit, fucked around and tried to hop on a plane with 6,000 pills. He had them taped to him and all the shit.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he get pulled over in the airport with 6,000 pills, and basically he just started talking, and he got a full fucking investigation put on the whole nation, basically. Some of the shit that he told was true, but he made up shit. You know, he did shit to do. Basically, they told him, you know, you got caught with 6,000 pills, my nigga. You finna go down. So what you need to do is you need to get enough information to get you on the street. So, you know, some people, you know, they gonna take that, you know. So this nigga, for some reason, he jumped on the other side of the fence and he decided to deal with them people when he got an investigation started.
Because there's too much good shit you can say about me. I'm saying that's part of the game. We signed up for it. You know, I'm alright with it. But, hey, you know what I'm saying? I can't act like it don't bother me. For real motherfuckers know, man. When the smoke cleared, all come out in the wash. You'll see what's happening. It's not my case against myself. It's their case against me. I just went through that. I was just persecuted and prosecuted. Like, if you really want to know, Google it, find it, get a Pacer account, Tracer account, whatever the fuck is public information. Like, I ain't never had my character under this kind of scrutiny. But like I said, you sign up for this type of shit. But if you gonna report that type of shit, man, again, back it with some facts.
Friendship is supposed to be one of the most sacred bonds a person can have. It's built on loyalty, trust, and the belief that no matter what happens, the person standing next to you will never turn their back on you. In the streets, those values are magnified. Loyalty isn't just a word, it's the code people live by. And once that bond is broken, it can never be restored to the same strength it once had. Take PSD, for example. He was originally from Mississippi, but when he came out to Vallejo, the Crest neighborhood opened their arms to him. They accepted him, they vouched for him, they treated him like one of their own. And that kind of acceptance doesn't come easy, because in neighborhoods like the Crest, people don't just hand out trust. You have to earn it day by day, showing that you're solid, showing that you're reliable. PSD had that, or at least everyone thought he did. Now here's where the line between friendship and betrayal comes in. When you're caught up in a situation, there's a difference between being locked up with co-defendants and deciding to cut a deal because everyone's fate is tied together. That doesn't make it right, but at least it's understandable. But PSD wasn't caught up with a crew. He wasn't with 10 other people facing the same charge. He was by himself. And yet, instead of standing tall and holding his own weight, he threw others under the bus just to save himself. That's where the betrayal cuts the deepest, because when you sell out your infrastructure just to get free, you're not just breaking the law of the streets, you're betraying the trust of every man who ever stood by you. Before the truth came out, Doobie was one of PSD's biggest offenders. He was out there in the Crest, standing on business, shutting down rumors, telling people to put some respect on PSD's name. He believed in that friendship. He believed in the loyalty that he thought PSD had for him. And that's why the betrayal stung even more. Because Doobie put his own reputation on the line defending someone who was secretly a snake. And here's the part that hurts. People in the neighborhood had already started whispering. They noticed PSD got out way too soon for the type of crime he had caught. They were suspicious. But Doobie didn't want to believe it. He wanted to trust his friend. He thought they had a real bond, a genuine relationship that couldn't be broken. And then the truth surfaced. PSD had cooperated. PSD had snitched. PSD had given up information that nobody forced out of him. That's the problem with betrayal. Once you cross that line, there's no coming back. You can repair almost anything in this world. You can fix a broken car. You can patch up a leaky roof. You can even rebuild a friendship after small disagreements. But once you break trust, once you expose yourself as someone willing to throw others under the bus, that bond is dead forever. And in street culture, that's not just about friendship. That's about survival. Because when one man folds, it puts everyone else in jeopardy. It means the infrastructure that people built through years of risk and sacrifice can crumble in an instant. All because one person wanted to save their own skin. That's why betrayal hurts more than the time you serve or the charges you face. It's deeper than just being labeled a snitch. It's about disrespecting the people who believed in you, who vouched for you, who defended your name. And when Doobie found out that PSD wasn't solid, that everything he stood for was a lie, it didn't just make him angry. It made him question the very idea of friendship. Because if the person you thought was your brother turns out to be your enemy, then what does loyalty really mean? At the end of the day, this situation is a lesson for everybody. Friendships and bonds should never be taken for granted. When people trust you, that's the highest form of currency you can ever hold. It's worth more than money, more than jewelry, more than status. But once you break it, you can't buy it back. You can't fake it, and you can't rebuild it. PSD's story shows the danger of selfishness, the consequences of betrayal, and the pain that comes when trust is lost. Loyalty is everything. Without it, friendships collapse, reputations shatter, and the foundation of entire neighborhoods is weakened. So the question remains, what's more important to you, standing tall and keeping your integrity, or saving yourself at the cost of betraying everyone who ever believed in you? Because as PSD showed us, once you make the wrong choice, you can never go back. What happened with PSD isn't just a story about one man making a bad choice. It's a reminder of how fragile trust really is and how easily loyalty can be destroyed. We talk about friendship and bonds like they're unbreakable, but the truth is, they're only as strong as the actions behind them. Once somebody shows their hand and exposes themselves as willing to betray, there's no repairing that damage. You can apologize, you can try to justify, but you can't erase the fact that you chose yourself over the very people who stood behind you when nobody else would. Think about Doobie. This man put his name, his face, and his whole reputation on the line to defend PSD. He went against whispers in the neighborhood. He told people to stop speaking foul on his friend's name, and he genuinely believed that the loyalty he gave would one day be returned. But what did he get back? A knife in the back. The same man he defended was the same man who secretly cooperated with law enforcement and told on the structure that gave him love when he first came from Mississippi. That kind of betrayal is deeper than a street issue. That's personal. That's about respect, about honor, about what friendship really means. And let's be real here. This wasn't a case where PSD was forced into an impossible corner with multiple co-defendants all facing the same time. That would have still been weak, but at least there's context. This man was caught by himself. Nobody else was on that paperwork. Nobody else was in that courtroom. Yet he still chose to give up the infrastructure that had once accepted him. That's why the situation is so out of pocket. Because he didn't just fold under pressure, he volunteered to betray. When you break that kind of bond, you don't just hurt one person. You poison the whole idea of loyalty. You make people start questioning everybody around them. You make homies start side-eyeing each other, wondering who's really solid and who's secretly waiting for their chance to trade loyalty for freedom. That's the ripple effect of betrayal. It doesn't just destroy one friendship. It creates paranoia, distrust, and division across an entire community. The sad part is, PSD could have stood tall. He could have taken his situation on the chin like a man. He could have proved that the Crest accepting him wasn't a mistake. But instead, he chose the easy way out, the selfish way out. And in doing so, he erased all the goodwill, all the respect, and all the love he had once been given. That's the tragedy of betrayal. It only takes one moment of weakness to erase years of loyalty. And that's the lesson everybody should take away from this. Trust is sacred. Loyalty is priceless. Once you lose it, you can't buy it back, no matter how much you beg or explain. People will never look at you the same, because they've seen who you really are when the pressure is on. Friendship isn't about smiling when times are good. It's about standing strong when times are hard. It's about carrying weight even when it gets heavy, because you know your brothers will do the same for you. So when we close the book on PSD's situation, let this be the final word. Betrayal is the one crime you can't come back from. You can make mistakes, you can fall short, you can even beef with somebody and later make peace. But once you show that you'll tell on your people just to save yourself, you're finished. The streets won't forget it, your homies won't forgive it, and your name will forever carry that stain. Doobie's loyalty was pure. He gave everything he had to defend a man he thought was his brother. And PSD's betrayal proves a harsh reality. Sometimes the person you love the most, the one you'd go to war for, is the very person who'll snake you the quickest. That's why loyalty is rare, and that's why you protect it at all costs. In this world, all we really have is our word and our bond. If you throw that away, then what are you left with? Nothing but shame, regret, and a broken reputation. PSD's story should serve as a warning for anybody who thinks they can cut corners with loyalty, because once that bond is gone, you'll never get it back.